7 species had tried to study the Ravager. 7 species had failed. The creature killed everything that came close, and nothing could hold it for long. Until now, Research Station Horizon 9 had managed the impossible. They had kept the beast alive and contained for 8 months. Scientists from across the galaxy came to observe it through reinforced glass and energy shields. They wrote papers about its biology. They measured its strength. They documented its killing methods. None of them understood it. The doctor, Yara Okonkwo, arrived 3 months ago. She was human, which made her strange to the other crew members. Humans came from Earth, a planet so dangerous that most species refused to believe the stories. Toxic atmosphere, extreme temperatures, predators everywhere. The Galactic Council had classified Earth as a Class 7 deathworld. Yara was quiet. She watched more than she spoke. The Pelori crew members thought she was slow. The Minthek scientists assumed she lacked intelligence. The Drini security officers ignored her completely. She spent most of her time at the observation window, watching the Ravager pace inside its containment cell. The creature was massive. 6 powerful limbs. Scales that changed color to match its surroundings. Rows of venomous spines along its back. 8 eyes that tracked every movement with terrifying focus. The other scientists studied its physical features. Yara studied something else. She watched how it moved when the lights came on. She noticed how it pressed against the far wall during feeding time. She observed the way its spines rose whenever someone approached the glass. "You are spending too much time on this observation," said Dr. Pollux, a Minthek scientist with 4 eyes and gray skin. "The creature has no complex behavior. It is a killing machine. Nothing more." Yara did not argue. She simply returned to watching. On the day everything changed, Yara was eating her lunch near the observation window. The station felt normal. Crew members walked through corridors. Scientists worked in their labs. Security officers patrolled their routes. Then the alarms started screaming. Red lights flashed across every wall. The station AI announced the emergency in its calm, mechanical voice. "Containment breach in Sector 7. Primary and secondary barriers have failed. All personnel evacuate to designated safe zones immediately." The Ravager was free. Yara watched through the window as the creature smashed through the final barrier. Metal bent like paper. Energy shields sparked and died. The beast stepped into the corridor, and chaos followed. Pelori crew members screamed and ran. Their forearms pumped as they sprinted toward the escape pods. Minthek scientists dropped their equipment and fled. Journey security officers fired their weapons, but the shots bounced off the creature's scales. They retreated within seconds. Everyone ran. Yara did not move. She stood at the observation window, her lunch forgotten on the floor. Her eyes followed the creature as it moved through the corridor. It was fast, incredibly fast, but she noticed something that no one else saw. Commander Brell, a tall Pelori with golden skin, spotted her from the command center's cameras. His voice came through the station speakers. "Human, what are you doing? Get to the safe zone now." Yara touched her communicator. "Commander, I need you to watch the creature carefully. Watch it. It just injured 3 of my crew. Security teams are down. We need to evacuate and seal the station." "Look at its movement pattern," Yara said calmly. "It is not hunting." Brell paused. On the screens, the Ravager was tearing through a storage room. Containers flew in every direction. Walls cracked under its strength. But the creature was not chasing anyone. It was not tracking prey. It was destroying everything around it with wild, unfocused energy. "What do you mean?" Brell asked. Yara finally turned away from the window. She began walking toward the breach zone, her steps slow and steady. "On my planet," she said, "we have animals that behave like this. Not when they are hunting, when they are afraid." "Afraid?" Brell's voice was sharp with disbelief. "That creature fears nothing. It has killed hundreds. It has been kept in a bright cell with constant noise and movement for 8 months, Yara replied. "Every test, every scan, every feeding, all of it was stress. All of it was fear. You were not studying a predator, Commander. You were trapping a terrified animal in a cage it could not escape." She kept walking. "And now it has escaped. Now it is surrounded by screaming aliens and flashing lights and loud alarms. It is not hunting your crew. It is panicking." Brell stared at his screens. The human was walking calmly through corridors filled with destruction. Behind her, the Ravager's roars echoed through the station. Ahead, injured crew members were being dragged to safety. "What are you going to do?" he asked. Yara stopped at a junction. To her left, she could hear the creature destroying another section. To her right, the path led to safety. She turned left. "I am going to do something your species never tried," she said. "I am going to stop running." The communication line went silent. Commander Brell watched the human disappear into the darkness, walking toward a monster that had killed everything it had ever touched. He did not understand, but he could not look away. Fear has a smell. Most species do not know this, but predators do. They can taste it in the air. They can feel it in the vibrations of running feet and racing hearts. The Ravager smelled fear everywhere, but IT crashed through another wall, searching for escape. Every direction brought more noise, more lights, more panic. The creature's scales flickered between colors as its camouflage system overloaded. Its spine stood fully extended, pumping venom that dripped onto the floor and burned through metalled in the command center. Commander Brell coordinated the evacuation. His four hands moved across control panels while his eyes stayed fixed on the screens. The human was still walking toward the creature. "She will die," said Officer Kren, a Drini security chief with thick blue scales. "We should focus on evacuation, not watching a human commit suicide." "She said the creature is afraid," Brell replied quietly. "Afraid?" Kren laughed bitterly. "That thing just tore through a reinforced bulkhead. It put 6 of my officers in medical pods. It does not know fear." Dr. Pollux stood nearby, watching his own screen. His 4 eyes blinked rapidly as he processed what he was seeing. "Commander, the human may have a point." Both Brell and Kren turned to look at him. "Explain," Brell demanded. Pollux pulled up data on his display. "I have been reviewing the creature's movement patterns since the breach. Classic predatory behavior involves tracking, stalking, and targeted attacks. The Ravager is showing none of these behaviors. Its movements are erratic. It is attacking objects, not pursuing targets. When crew members fled, it did not chase them. It still injured 6 officers," Kren growled. "Because they shot at it," Pollux said. "Every injury occurred as a response to an attack, not as an initiation. The creature is defensive, not offensive." Brell looked back at the screen showing Yara. She had stopped in a corridor intersection, standing perfectly still. The sounds of destruction echoed from somewhere ahead. "Human," he said through the communicator. "Dr. Pollux believes you may be correct. The creature appears to be acting defensively." Yara's voice came back calm and steady. "I know. I need you to do something for me, Commander." "What?" "Turn off the alarms. Dim all lights in sectors 6 through 9. Order all personnel to stop moving and remain silent." Kren stepped forward. "That is insane. We need to evacuate, not hide in the dark." "Your evacuation is making things worse," Yara replied. "Every running body, every scream, every alarm is telling that creature that it is surrounded by threats. You are confirming its fear. You are making it more dangerous. And your solution is to do nothing. My solution is to stop being threatening." Yara paused. "On Earth, we have learned that sometimes the most dangerous response to a frightened predator is to run. Running triggers the chase instinct. It turns fear into aggression. The only way to survive is to be still." Brell considered this. Everything in his instincts told him to flee. His species had evolved as prey animals. Running was survival. Stillness was death, but running had not worked. His crew had run, and the creature had torn through the station anyway. "Do it," he said. Kren started to protest, but Brell raised one of his hands. "We have tried the standard response. It failed. We will try the human's way." The alarms went silent. The red emergency lights faded to a soft blue glow. Across the station, crew members stopped their evacuation and pressed against walls, barely breathing. The Ravager's roars echoed through suddenly quiet corridors. Then they stopped. Yara listened carefully. She could hear the creature's breathing somewhere ahead. Heavy, rapid, the breathing of something exhausted and overwhelmed. She began walking again. "Human, wait," Pollux said through the communicator. "I want to understand. Why are you not afraid?" Yara smiled slightly, though no one could see it. "I am afraid, Doctor. Very afraid. But I learned something long ago. Fear is contagious. Animals can sense it. If I show my fear, the creature will respond to it. If I stay calm, there is a chance it will calm down too. And if it does not, then I will die calm, which is better than dying while running." She turned a corner and saw the creature for the first time without barriers between them. The Ravager crouched in a destroyed cargo bay. Containers were scattered everywhere. Walls were torn open. Emergency foam leaked from broken pipes. The creature's 8 eyes locked onto her instantly. Yara stopped walking. She did not run. She did not scream. She simply stood there, 30 meters away from the most dangerous creature in known space. And she waited. The Ravager's scales rippled with color. Its spines trembled. A low growl built in its throat. Yara lowered herself to the floor and sat down, crossing her legs. She placed her hands on her knees, palms up, fingers relaxed, eye in the command center. Everyone watched in stunned silence. The growling stopped. The creature tilted its massive head, studying this strange small being that did not run, did not attack, did not smell of fear. It had never seen anything like her. Silence has weight. In the empty corridors of Horizon 9, that weight pressed down on everyone. The crew members hiding in sealed rooms listened to their own heartbeats. The security officers gripped their weapons and stared at doors that might never open again. Commander Brell watched his screens and forgot to breathe. In Cargo Bay 7, a human sat cross-legged on the floor while a monster watched her. The Ravager had not moved since Yara sat down. Its 8 eyes remained fixed on her, tracking every small motion. Its breathing had slowed from rapid gasps to long, deep pulls of air. Its scales had settled into a dark gray color, no longer flickering with camouflage patterns. Dr. Pollux studied the readings coming from sensors in the cargo bay. His 4 eyes widened as he processed the data. Commander, the creature's stress indicators are dropping. Dropping, Brell repeated. Heart rate is decreasing. Hormone levels are stabilizing. It is calming down. Officer Kren shook his head. That is impossible. Nothing calms a Ravager. The species is genetically designed for aggression. Then explain what I am seeing, Pollux said. He pointed at the screen. The human has been sitting there for 20 minutes. The creature has made no aggressive moves. Its defensive postures are relaxing. This should not be possible according to everything we know. Brell stared at the image. The human looked so small compared to the massive beast. One swipe of those claws would end her life. Yet she sat there like she was meditating in a garden. What is she doing? He asked quietly. In the cargo bay, Yara was doing exactly nothing. That was the point. She had learned this technique years ago, working with dangerous animals on Earth. Tigers, bears, wolves, creatures that could kill a human in seconds. The instinct was always to show dominance or to flee. Both responses triggered aggression, but patience, stillness, calm presence. These things confused predators. They expected prey to run. They expected threats to attack. When neither happened, their instincts had no clear response. The Ravager was experiencing this confusion now. It had spent 8 months in captivity where everything was threatening. Bright lights that hurt its sensitive eyes. Loud noises that overwhelmed its hearing. Constant movement from scientists who never stopped observing it. The creature had been in a permanent state of fear and stress. Now, for the first time, something was different. The lights were dim. The noise was gone. And this small being simply sat there, asking nothing, threatening nothing. The creature took a step forward. Yara did not react. She kept her eyes slightly downcast, avoiding direct eye contact that might seem challenging. Her hands remained open and visible. Her breathing stayed slow and even. Another step. In the command center, Kren reached for the emergency controls. I should activate the defense systems. One more step, and it will be close enough to strike. Wait, Brell ordered. Look at it. Really look. The Ravager's spines had lowered. They lay flat against its back for the first time since its capture. Its massive claws, usually extended and ready to tear, were partially retracted. Its body, always coiled for attack, had relaxed into a more natural posture. It is not stalking her, Pollux whispered. It is approaching her. There is a difference. Yara heard the creature's footsteps coming closer. She could smell its alien scent, sharp and wild. She could feel the vibration of its weight through the floor. Every survival instinct in her body screamed at her to run. She ignored them all. The Ravager stopped 5 meters away. It lowered its head, bringing those 8 eyes closer to her level. A deep rumbling sound came from its chest, something between a growl and a purr. Yara recognized that sound. She had heard similar sounds from big cats on Earth. It was not a warning. It was curiosity, Slowly, carefully, she reached into her pocket. The creature tensed slightly, but she moved with deliberate calm. She pulled out a ration bar and unwrapped it with unhurried movements. Then she took a bite and began eating. The Ravager watched with obvious confusion. This was not behavior it understood. Prey did not eat in front of predators. Prey ran. Prey screamed. Prey died. This small creature ate a snack. After a moment, the Ravager did something that made Dr. Pollux drop his tablet in shock. That IT lay down. The massive beast settled onto the floor of the cargo bay, folding its 6 limbs beneath its body. Its head remained up, watching Yara, but its posture was no longer aggressive. It looked almost like a giant dog resting near its owner. Document everything, Brell ordered. Every second of this. Pollux scrambled to pick up his tablet. His hands were shaking. Commander, no one will believe this. 300 years of xenobiology, and no one has ever recorded a Ravager at rest in the presence of another species. They will believe it, Brell said. Because we have proof. Because of her. On the screen, Yara finished her ration bar and tucked the wrapper back into her pocket. She did not look directly at the creature. She did not speak. She simply sat in the quiet darkness while the most dangerous beast in the galaxy rested nearby. The long night was just beginning. Hours passed like years inside Cargo Bay 7. The dim blue lights cast soft shadows across the wreckage. Somewhere in the station, water dripped from a broken pipe. Otherwise, the only sounds were breathing. Two kinds of breathing. One human, one monster. The Ravager had not moved from its resting position. Its eyes would close for a few minutes, then snap open to check that Yara was still there. Each time it found her in the same place, sitting calmly, its eyes would close again. Doctor Pollux had not slept. He sat at his station, watching readings that should not exist. The creature's brain activity showed patterns similar to light sleep. Its stress hormones had dropped to levels never recorded in any Ravager study. Its heart rate was steady and slow. It is sleeping, he said for the 10th time. A Ravager is sleeping near a living being. Commander Brell had sent most of the crew to rest in shifts. Only essential personnel remained in the command center. The immediate crisis had passed, but a new problem was approaching. Commander, said a communications officer. Message from Galactic Authority Command. A military vessel has been dispatched. They will arrive in 12 hours. Brell felt his stomach drop. What are their orders? Terminate the specimen and assess station damage. They are bringing heavy weapons capable of destroying the entire cargo section if necessary. Yara heard this through her communicator. She had kept the channel open throughout the night. Her voice was quiet when she responded. Commander, you cannot let them do that. I may not have a choice, Dr. Okonkwo. The creature is classified as an extreme threat. Standard protocol demands termination after a containment breach. Look at your screens. Does that look like an extreme threat to you? Brell looked. The Ravager lay peacefully on the cargo bay floor. Its breathing was slow and even. One of its clawed hands had stretched out slightly, reaching toward Yara without quite touching her. What I see does not change protocol, Brell said sadly. Then protocol is wrong. Yara shifted her position slightly, and the creature's eyes opened briefly before closing again. This animal has been treated as a monster because you never tried to understand it. You kept it in conditions that caused constant stress. You poked and prodded and tested without ever asking what it needed. It killed 47 people during capture, Pollux said through the communicator. Those deaths were not caused by stress. Those deaths were caused by fear, Yara replied. Imagine being taken from your home by giant aliens. Imagine being locked in a bright, loud cage where nothing made sense. Imagine every touch bringing pain, every sound bringing confusion. What would you do? Pollux had no answer. On Earth, Yara continued, we have done terrible things to animals out of fear and ignorance. We hunted species to extinction because we thought they were monsters. We caged creatures in horrible conditions because we thought they did not suffer. We were wrong. We are still learning how wrong we were. The Ravager made a sound. It was soft, almost gentle. A low rumbling that vibrated through the floor. Yara had been waiting for this moment. She recognized the sound from her research. It was a contact call. Young Ravagers made this sound when searching for their parents. This creature, this killing machine, was calling out for comfort. Slowly, Yara responded. She made a similar low sound in her throat, the closest she could manage to the creature's vocalization. It was not perfect, but it was an attempt. The Ravager's eyes opened fully. It lifted its head and stared at her with something that looked almost like hope. She made the sound again. The creature rose to its feet, and Yara heard gasps through her communicator. But she did not move, did not show fear. She kept making the soft, rumbling sound, calling to it the way its mother might have called. The Ravager walked toward her. Each step shook the floor. Each step brought those massive claws closer to her fragile human body. It stopped directly in front of her. Its head lowered until those 8 eyes were level with her face. Hot breath washed over her, carrying the smell of an alien world she would never see. Yara slowly raised her hand. "Dr. Okonkwo," Brel said urgently, "please do not do this." She ignored him. Her hand moved upward, palm facing the creature. Open, vulnerable, offering trust. The Ravager watched her hand approach. Its spines were completely flat. Its claws were retracted. Its whole body was still. Then it closed the distance. Its snout touched her palm. The scales were warm and surprisingly smooth. The creature pressed gently against her hand, eyes closing as if savoring the contact. I in the command center. No one spoke. No one moved. They watched a human touch a Ravager without dying. "First contact," Pollux whispered. His voice was shaking. "First peaceful contact in recorded history." Yara stroked the creature's snout gently. Tears were running down her face, but she was smiling. "Hello," she said softly. "You are not a monster, are you? You never were." The Ravager made its gentle sound again, and for the first time in its tortured life, it was not afraid. Morning came to the station, though there was no sunrise in space. The automatic lights brightened slightly, signaling a new day to the exhausted crew. In Cargo Bay 7, the blue emergency lighting remained dim at Yara's request. The Ravager had moved during the night. It now lay curled around Yara like a massive scaly cat, one clawed hand resting near her leg. Its breathing was deep and peaceful. For the first time in 8 months of captivity, the creature was truly sleeping. Yara had not slept. She sat with her back against the creature's warm side, watching the shadows shift as the station's systems hummed quietly. Her body ached from sitting in one position for so long, but she did not dare move. Commander Brel's voice came through her communicator. "Dr. Okonkwo, the military vessel will arrive in 4 hours. Admiral Tessick is commanding. He has confirmed the termination order. Has he seen the footage? I sent him everything. The footage, the readings, Dr. Pollux's analysis." His response was, Brel hesitated. He said the creature's apparent calm is likely a hunting strategy. He believes it is waiting for rescuers to approach before attacking. Yara laughed bitterly. The sound made the Ravager stir slightly, and she quickly softened her voice. "A hunting strategy that involves sleeping for 8 hours next to prey it could have killed at any moment?" I made the same argument. He was not convinced. Officer Kren joined the channel. His voice was different than before. Quieter. "Dr. Okonkwo, I owe you an apology. I thought you were a fool walking to your death. I was wrong." "Thank you, officer. That does not mean I can stop what is coming. The Admiral has authority here. When his ship arrives, they will burn that cargo bay and everything in it, including you, if you do not leave." Yara looked down at the massive creature resting beside her. Its scales rose and fell with each breath. Occasionally, it made soft sounds in its sleep, like a dog dreaming of running. She thought about what its life had been. Captured violently, imprisoned cruelly, studied without compassion, and now, finally finding a moment of peace, it was about to be killed. "I am not leaving," she said. The communicator was silent for a long moment. Then Brel spoke again. "Dr. Okonkwo, I cannot order you to leave. But I am asking you. The galaxy needs people who understand what you understand. You have proven something incredible here. If you die, that knowledge dies with you. If I leave, this creature dies alone and afraid. Again, just like it has been alone and afraid since the day it was captured." Yara placed her hand on the Ravager's side, feeling its heartbeat. "I came out here to study alien life, Commander, to understand it, not to watch it be destroyed because understanding is too difficult." Dr. Pollux's voice joined the channel. "I have been reviewing old research files. The Ravager species was discovered on a remote death world called Char 7. The initial survey team described them as highly aggressive. They killed every researcher who approached." "Your point?" Kren asked. The The survey team landed in full military gear. Armed vehicles, bright lights, loud equipment. Pollux paused. They approached the Ravagers exactly as we approach all dangerous species, with fear and force. And the Ravagers responded to that fear and force. What if that has always been the problem? What if we created our own monsters by treating them like monsters first? Yara nodded slowly, even though no one could see her. On Earth, we have a saying. If you look for enemies, you will always find them. The galaxy has been looking at Ravagers as enemies for 300 years. No one ever tried looking at them as anything else. The Ravager stirred beside her. Its eyes opened slowly, finding her face immediately. There was no aggression in those 8 eyes. Only recognition. Only trust that it made its gentle rumbling sound. And Yara responded in kind. The Admiral is not going to change his mind, Brel said quietly. I have known him for 20 years. He sees threats in categories. Once something is labeled dangerous, it stays dangerous forever in his eyes. Then I need more time to change the categories, Yara said. Can you delay them? How? Yara thought quickly. The station has sustained significant damage. Standard protocol requires a full safety assessment before any military operations can proceed inside the structure. Request an assessment before they begin their operation. Brel considered this. That would buy perhaps 2 hours at most. 2 hours might be enough. Yara stood slowly, her joints protesting after the long night. The Ravager rose with her, watching her movements carefully. I need to show them something that changes everything they believe. Something undeniable. What do you have in mind? Yara looked at the creature standing beside her. It was 4 meters tall at the shoulder. Its claws could tear through metal. Its spines could kill with a single scratch, and it was waiting for her to move first, following her lead like a loyal companion. I am going to take a walk, she said, and I am going to bring a friend. The airlock doors opened, and Admiral Tessic stepped onto Horizon 9 with 20 armed soldiers behind him. He was a tall Drini with dark blue scales and cold eyes that had seen 100 battlefields. In his hand, he carried authorization to destroy everything in Cargo Bay 7. Commander Brel met him at the entrance. Admiral, thank you for allowing the safety assessment. However, there has been a development you need to see. I have seen the footage, Commander. A parlor trick. The creature is playing dead to lure in more victims. Tessic waved his hand dismissively. My teams will handle this efficiently. With respect, Admiral, the situation has changed in the last 2 hours. Tessic frowned. Changed how? Brel stepped aside and gestured down the corridor. Yara was walking toward them. The dim emergency lighting had been restored throughout the station, casting everything in soft blue shadows. Her footsteps echoed in the quiet corridor. Behind her, the Ravager walked. The soldiers raised their weapons instantly. 20 plasma rifles pointed at the massive creature. Admiral Tessic barked orders to hold fire, his hand raised, his eyes wide with shock. The Ravager saw the weapons. It saw the threatening postures. Its scales began to shift, and its spine started to rise. Yara stopped walking. She turned and placed her hand on the creature's snout, making her gentle rumbling sound. The Ravager's scales settled. Its spines lowered. It pressed its head against her palm, seeking comfort. Then it waited, calm and still, while she turned back to face the Admiral. This creature has been with me for 18 hours, Yara said. I have walked through 3 sections of the station with it beside me. It has had dozens of opportunities to attack me or the crew members we passed. It has not harmed anyone. Tessic's jaw tightened. It killed 6 officers yesterday. It defended itself against attacks while in a state of extreme fear and stress. Every injury occurred after your crew shot at it or tried to restrain it. When we stopped attacking, it stopped defending. Yara stepped forward, leaving the Ravager standing peacefully behind her. Admiral, this species has been classified as mindlessly aggressive for 300 years. That classification is wrong. One night of unusual behavior does not change 3 centuries of evidence. Then consider this evidence. Dr. Pollux stepped forward, holding a tablet. I have analyzed behavioral data from every recorded Ravager encounter. In every single case, the initial contact involved aggressive approach by armed teams. Bright lights, loud vehicles, weapons fire. The creatures responded with violence because we presented ourselves as threats. They are predators, Tessic said. They attack prey. They are prey as well, Pollux replied. On their homeworld, Ravagers are hunted by at least 3 larger species. They evolved extreme defensive capabilities because they needed them to survive. Their aggression is not predatory. It is protective. Tessic looked at the creature standing in the corridor. It had not moved since Yara calmed it. Its 8 eyes watched the soldiers with obvious wariness, but it made no threatening gestures. "What are you suggesting?" the Admiral asked slowly. Yara answered. "I am suggesting that we have been approaching alien life wrong. We assume danger. We prepare for combat. We treat first contact as a military operation. And then we wonder why every species we meet responds with hostility." She walked back to the Ravager and stood beside it. Her hand rested on its massive shoulder. She looked tiny next to the creature, fragile and soft compared to its armored body. "Humans evolved on a death world," she continued. "We learned very early that not every dangerous creature is an enemy. We learned to read behavior, to understand fear, to approach with patience instead of force. That is what I did here. I did not defeat this creature. I understood it." Admiral Tessic stared at the human and the monster standing together. 20 years of military experience told him this was impossible. A lifetime of training told him to give the order to fire, but he could not deny what his eyes were showing him. "What do you want?" he asked finally. "I want to be assigned as this creature's handler. I want a new enclosure designed with proper conditions. Dim lights, minimal noise, regular schedules, respect." Yara smiled slightly. "And I want to name it." "Name it." "Every being deserves a name." Yara looked up at the Ravager, at its 8 eyes watching her with trust and affection. "I want to call it Gentle." The soldiers looked at each other uncertainly. The name seemed absurd for something so massive and deadly, but Admiral Tessic saw the creature press its snout against the human's shoulder, making its soft, rumbling sound. He saw the most dangerous species in known space, seeking comfort from the smallest deathworlder in the room that he lowered his hand. "Stand down." The soldiers lowered their weapons. Months later, Dr. Pollux published his research. The paper changed xenobiology forever. Scientists began approaching dangerous species with new methods. Military first contact protocols were revised. Across the galaxy, creatures once marked for termination were given second chances. And on a rebuilt station, a human woman sat in a quiet room with dim lights, while a massive creature rested its head in her lap. The galaxy had called Ravagers monsters for 300 years. It took a human to see something different, because humans knew something that other species had forgotten. Every monster has a story. Every beast has a heart. And sometimes, the most terrifying thing in the universe is simply something that has never been shown kindness, until someone is brave enough to try.